Hey, meat suits. It's me, the Amora Oracle, and I'm coming in with a mostly Oracle, a little bit of tarot at the end reading for you today. This reading is going to be for someone who is needing at this time to hear about flexibility, trust. Mostly, I'm getting that it's someone in the process of learning to trust themselves. But this story really could be a lot of times we learn that through trying to trust other people when really we need to be trusting ourselves. So, this reading is very likely also for someone who, in the recent past or currently, is going through some kind of major separation or transition. Um, towards their truest path. I want to be clear about that, but there's some pain here nonetheless, and we're going to get into all that. So, without further ado, up top I have Wild Child Oracle, and then down here I have, let's see, what is this Oracle deck? It literally just says Love Oracle cards. Okay, cool then. um, so this could be a love reading, but it doesn't have to be. All right, let's go. We're going to talk about current coming through in Wild Child. Okay. This card wants to talk about flexibility. It wants to talk about acceptance. It wants to also talk about navigating the unseen. You can see this narwhal here, and this woman is hanging on to it. So there is an adaptability and going with the flow, and a basically grabbing on to whatever rafts life is currently sending you. And this card, with all this water being here, really is about a sense of being really in touch with your intuition. That's where the unseen moves come in for this card. And it's almost like those internal nudges or outside things, like literally outside people or other things that the universe brings in that really help us to kind of know which way to step next, right? Because you can't. I do want to encourage you, like especially people who are learning how to trust themselves. When I say go with the flow, I don't necessarily just mean like accept whatever's going on around you. Like for instance, okay, I recently just went through something honestly horrific. Okay, just horrific. Um, and really learned about the depth of, depravity that humans, especially humans who are like more predatory, will go to, and so in that situation, right? People were saying like, "Oh, just let this go," or "It's not that big of a deal." And something inside of me was like, "No, it really is." And then it really was. You know what I mean? So currents isn't about going with the flow of like listening to those around you. It still wants to talk about making sure you're in touch with yourself. The flow within. Okay, I guess I just wanted to clarify that to make sure I'm not out here being irresponsible with my messages. Under the deck, you got Reach, and I really want to talk about that card. So this card is 26, Currents is 10. So driving this, this situation is driving you forward towards the concept of reach, which is going to be like finding stable grounding. Okay. This is going to be about actively seeking stability. It's going to be looking beyond illusions. Okay. Currents is helping you with that. Looking beyond illusions. This card also talks incredibly about inner child healing. Okay. And so inner child is really important in this process, whatever this is for you, because specifically reach comes in to talk about moving away from self-doubt or confusion and trusting that inherent knowledge. Like even as children, we might not have all of the, book knowledge or street smarts or things like that, but we have a pretty good sense of like what our truth is, what the truth is, right? And kids, you think about kids, we also as kids don't hesitate to say it. Like we're not polite or socially influenced really, right? So there's something to that at this time for you. And next in Wild Child was decay energy. And I want you to put aside what you think you know about decay, because that's not exactly what this card talks about. First of all, Decay is 11, by the way, okay? And 26 under the deck is reach. So technically, again, this is before, like, because this is what we're getting to here. I want you to look at how it looks like these antlers are these trees, but instead now there's also this other depth and beauty. It's not just a forest and decay, right? Okay. I was very drawn to that. It's significant because that means that the energy of reach is within the decay card, right? Like they are in harmony together in this way. So decay came in and wanted to talk to us about allowing for the space to grieve. Okay, yes, you're doing this work here, this emotional inner work, and you know, you're just like peacefully releasing, holding on when it's necessary and otherwise not. But decay wants to say, like, you do have to allow for the space to grieve, like, you have to acknowledge the grief, but to not keep weeping about it. So that's basically saying, like, you acknowledge it, you feel it, but you don't necessarily put it away. You just make more space around it. And I think that that's a beautiful imagery of just like making a deeper and wider chasm for all of your experiences, all of your losses, all of your pain, all of your griefs, all of your lessons. Basically, those words all are that, right? And just digging wider and wider space around it, allowing the bones to be bleached by the sun and become beautiful and have things grow in and around them, right? Like, I just love that. So decay wants to talk about basically this energy, like if you boil it down to one point, is the cycle continues because you just make more room for the next thing, for the next lesson. You don't leave any of this behind, right? The death or the decay is always with you, but you give it some room. You give it some room. And that really is that foundation to the reach energy. That is the foundation to the stability, is currents and decay. So you're kind of in this place or this space of pause. And, the universe is coming in via me right now to talk about it. So the cards that you got were past life, depth, trapped, apology, clarity. Okay. You don't have to believe in past lives. That's not necessarily what this card has to mean, okay? Because when we talk about this energy of past lives card, we talk about deja vu, we talk about repeated patterns, and we talk about karmic lessons. Now, it is my sense that the whoever this message is for, I don't necessarily think that you're like learning a repeat lesson. I think that this card is talking more about the intuitive need or the ability to recognize repeated patterns. And yes, I mean, obviously we learn karmic lessons, and I don't want to minimize that or say like the listener or the viewer is like above that. But this energy was just coming in through for me in this reading as like saying, listen to yourself, like you have been here before. Like, that's what decay means. Like, you might not still be crying, but like you have these other things in that hole that you've dug, and it's helping you to dig your way out of this thing too. Well, so is past life energy. This does also talk to me about whatever it is that you are experiencing. It's this is giving me like major arcana energy, like it's necessary, like you had to go through this. It was an important part of your growth and your purpose in some way, okay? Or like if you're just listening to me because you like to listen to me, this card could come in to just make you think down the vein of your past, and kind of just looking at everything you've been through and sort of getting to a place where you're like, all right, like I'm ready to move into a different direction, like a brighter reality than where I've been. um and to just kind of acknowledge that. So that's a little message for someone. That's interesting it came in that way, but whatever. Okay, so next you have depth, and depth goes hand in hand with currents energy, first of all. Okay, but depth is a little different because instead of all that water, you've got this imagery of the flame and the lights here. So depth wants to talk about those feelings, that awareness, importance, and it wants to talk about value in a couple of different ways. With this card, it wants to talk about your inherent value. Okay, something about hanging on to that. That's giving me this Wands energy, like really truly recognizing that, hanging on to that, like that's important. Do that, babe. Like, like do that. But it also just wants to talk to you about what it is you might be placing value on, or that this situation might be with priorities under the deck, Two of Gems. This situation or these experiences in general in your life have brought you to a place where they want to adjust what you place value on, and that it needs to be more on yourself, the importance on yourself, and trusting your own awareness of yourself and of the world around you. Okay. I thought that was cool. Trapped wants to come in and talk about stuck, tied down, and captive. All right. So, trapped wants to talk about this energy in a way where we wouldn't be here right now in this reading if you well, if you didn't maybe just need some encouragement, but likely this card is coming out to say that there is something you could do better in the situation, whether this is getting stuck in your head or like not seeing clearly through all of your feelings right now, or if this is literally just coming in to talk about like allowing the situation in general to have maybe like halted your forward movement and kept you kind of like unsure of where to go next. Well, you do know where to go next. You aren't trapped. You might have been trapped, okay? But just like whenever I see the Eight of Swords come through, it's that kind of energy to me in this card where it's like, but by what? Only by your choice. Nobody else, unless they're physically holding you down, like physically holding you down and tying you up. And I hope not. I mean, Jesus, but like, I mean, unless you're into that, like, we don't kink shame here. So anyway, okay, focus. That's not what's happening in this card though. This card is like, but you're not, but you're not. You can hold space for the grief, okay? But at some point you have to cease weeping and move on, okay? Apology came through, which is forgiveness, return, sorry. I need to apologize ahead of time. I'm not going to be one of those readers that's like, this is someone that needs to apologize to you. I mean, there's a ton of people that need to apologize to you, babe. Okay. But if you wait for them to do it, you really will be trapped, stuck, tied down, captive, because you are the captain of your own ship and you can't control anyone else's awareness or growth or their ego, right? However, this card is coming through to say that while yes, maybe in this situation, someone else or others do owe you a genuine apology, and maybe for a small few of you, you will be getting it. Okay, but what this card really wants to talk about, especially with this inner child work coming in through here, and this awareness and like what is valuable is you, I'm really getting that this is a need to just apologize to yourself, to your inner child, to say, hey, I did my best and I'm still very sorry that I couldn't quite protect you in ways that were important, or, fill in the blank, however that looks for you. This is about forgiving the self, okay? No matter what is done to us, no matter that we don't deserve it or what have you, like there is always a part of us that probably had some inkling, had some feelings, some kind of intuition, and didn't listen to it all the way. Like maybe you did your best and you definitely got through what this was, like a lot more unscathed than you would have, but like at the same time, like there's always going to be that part of you that's like, I should have protected myself better, right? In this world, it's such a sketchy spot to be in when you're in that kind of energy, because you you can't, like with some of this coming through here, you can't completely like close yourself off and keep yourself 100% safe unless you literally go live in a cave. Like it's just not possible, right? So there is a need at this time to just be like, literally self, I did my best and I know who I am, and it's okay that like this turned out this way even though it fucking sucked or whatever. Like there is a need. And I mean, I don't know. There are studies that say like if you get like a group of people and like they all have gone through something traumatic, like half of them that get like revenge, they heal better and they move on better, and then like the other kinds that kind of don't get any resolution, like they don't do as well. But I bring that up to say I think that forgiveness is the middle ground, because I do think at the end of the day, while revenge is great and it feels really good and it can, on a scientific level, actually be healing and help release, so can forgiveness, because it is still a type of resolution, right? Maybe someone here needs to forgive themselves for the revenge, and that's okay too. But like if that's coming from a religious place, please be advised that like the Bible specifically and the Quran and all kinds of other spiritual documents talk about like basically like the price or the cost of different sins that people have. So like eye for an eye, like revenge is a thing even in spirituality. And it's interesting that wants to come through with apology, but that's what's happening, so that's what we're going to go with here. But there is just a way that the energy in the situation, the grief, the anger, whatever it is, needs to be turned into something else, like needs to be shifted to help you get out of this place, or to help you not fall back into this place, whatever that is for you. Because why? Clarity, truth, intentions, honesty coming through here. All right. This is like your aha moment. This is your priorities coming through there. This card is asking, prompting, like bringing your attention to, like, okay, one way that we're seeing this card right now is intentions. Like, as long as you know in yourself that your intentions and whatever this situation was, and to the best of your ability, that you were honest and that you showed up as your most authentic self, then that's great. Okay. This card is asking, if you go through this process and you're looking at this and you feel like maybe that didn't happen, this card is just asking you to get clear for future versions of you what your truth is, what your intentions really are in this world, or in situations with love or whatever this could be talking about, and like what is honest for you. Okay, so there's a need for clarity, but there's also energy, if this card is coming in, of clarity available to you. All right, so we're going to go to the Prism Tarot now. We got 3 of Clouds, which is heartbreak, 8 of Raindrops, 7 of Lightning, 10 of Raindrops, the Emperor, and the Magician. Okay. All right. So for some of you, yes, this was like a love situation, either like romantic or familial or like community. Okay. But there is with decay here and trapped in all of this coming through, there is definitely some heartbreak that we're talking about if the 3 of Clouds is coming through. Okay. Because the 3 of Clouds wants to talk about and I mean, I want to back up a little bit. Separation can come in many forms. Okay. So it can be a loss of a relationship, of your own identity. That is also a relationship. um the disintegration or the destruction, like of by outward circumstances, of a belief or of a purpose or a goal. But basically the mantra of this card, when we're looking at it in the sense of remaining out of trapped energy with it, is my heart remains tender and open. Okay, so 3 of Clouds really just wants to talk to you about the biggest act of like strength or rebellion that someone can do is that when others, or when a situation, or when life, or whatever it is, has like knocked them down, destroyed them, gutted them, like over and over sometimes, like the greatest act of rebellion that one can do is to remain soft and to remain loving, and to say, you know what, I'm gonna have love anyway. Like I'm not gonna let this thing make me hard. She said hard. Okay, so 8 of raindrops coming next. We're talking about choosing your sacred dream here, okay? 8 of raindrops is a leaving behind or a walking away energy, but it is so much more than that because this card wants to talk about acknowledging, really being honest with the self that there is some disappointment here, okay? And that really, again, back to that 3 of clouds energy, like there's nothing more badass than through the disappointment to say, I'm going to still choose vulnerability. Like I'm still going to choose to be um not nice but like kind in this world, right? Like I'm not going to be ugly and intentionally go out of my way to hurt people just because they have hurt me or whatever, right? That is a lot of what the strength of this card is, but this card is about choosing yourself, and it is about walking away from things that aren't serving you in a way that allow you to choose yourself to choose yourself. I don't know, maybe one of you needs to work on like not chewing your cuticles. But so yeah, 8 of raindrops is here to say like you can shine another day. Like today it's okay to just be like, all right, I guess I'll move on, right? Like what else are you going to do? Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you just like we have to remain in these cycles of life and like move on to do something else, something different, something new, right? 7 of lightning, defense is coming in next, and this is 7 of wands. This energy always comes into a reading. Well, I shouldn't say always. In this reading, often comes into a reading to talk about grounding and protection. So there is some movement and some growth that is necessary here, because if we're talking about wands, that really always is talking about literal like physical movement. It's often talking about like spiritually driven or like life force based driven movement, okay? So this card also kind of talks about feeling vulnerable. And I thought that was interesting. They came out next to each other because this is talking about feeling vulnerable and this is talking about doing something with that, or like choosing literally to take steps because of it. Something like that could be. But this card, don't let defense fool you. It's not talking about like fighting, because that's more of like if you're still in the 5 of wands energy, but 7 of wands is like more mature than that, and it's about defending what you already know to be true about yourself. 5 of wands, you're kind of learning about yourself from that like very basic and beginner combat. This is like you've mastered some of that combat and you know a thing or two about you and how you move, right? So this card wants to talk about self-expression, growth, okay, momentum, creative innovation based on who like literally who the fuck you are, like who you know yourself to be. But this card also wants to remind you that haters only arrive after you've made it to your perch, okay? And then they want to ask you to defend your worth, like why you deserve that perch. But the thing about that is that haters don't make or break you. Like, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes haters actually can make you. Like in the world of algorithms, the algorithm doesn't care if they hate you or not. If they're interacting with your stuff, it's going to move your shit to the top of the algorithm. But beyond that, like this card talks about the mantra being like, I am deserving of this success and will bravely continue shining, because that's the only response that anyone needs. Like they don't get to tell you who you are. When they come to question your worth, it only matters really when this card is on the table, what you think. So there is like maybe some encouragement that you can't stay stuck or down in like what other people might say or think. Or I know it's really hurtful, especially if you've like come out of a romantic relationship and the person is just like saying awful things about you, or you're learning awful things about who they really are. Like I know that can be hard, but it's like that doesn't need to change who one is themselves, right? Okay. And then we've got 10 of cups coming next. Hold on one second. Yeah, I do mind. Hold on. I've got 10 of raindrops next. So this card is the 10 of cups. This is like this is the happily ever after card, you guys. Like, okay. And coming before the emperor and the magician, like, come on. But we'll talk about it. This is about community. Okay, so if this situation was about community, this card is coming in to promise you a fulfilling and more aligned community. Okay, if this is talking about a breakup or a job, this is coming in to promise you, to say like the energy is here for you to move towards something that is more fully fulfilling for you, more aligned for you. Okay, it wants to talk about harmony in relationships, family, but mostly this card in this reading wants to talk about wholeness and heart opening and expansion. Like I was talking about in decay, that need to like dig deeper to have more room for the next grief. Like that also is the same concept with joy, like digging more deeply, more fully to hold more joy. Okay. And that's what this card is coming in to talk about. And I want to talk about the Emperor and the Magician together, because both of these are major arcana. Sorry. Coming in to talk about authority. Okay, this is about like basically the authority in your own life, but I mean, maybe stepping up within a community to take on more of a leadership role, could be, or maybe that's your goal. Or maybe this is just talking about being like uh like above kings. I don't know a better way to put that. Like maybe this is just talking about a level up where it's like, you know, because the emperor is like the ultimate authority. Like nobody can question the emperor. He knows what the fuck is up, right? But this is about leading in your circumstances with confidence, harmony, and generosity. But it's also about manifestation, creativity, and resourcefulness. So it's about creating your life from the seat of authority, like from the highest seat of authority in your own life. Okay, this talks about, you know, showing, like showcasing openly your skills, your talents. Okay, and you know, we could say the mantra here would be, I can manifest the life I desire through energy and action. Okay, but this card wants to talk about coming in to take up space, and this card, it wants to talk about creation, but it wants to talk about the energy and action of it. The Magician does have everything that he needs at his disposal, but this card, when it talks about resourcefulness, sometimes he has that because the energy of this card has come in and the viewer has been like, all right, well, I need to figure out what resources I need and make sure I have access to that. Like, so it can be the actions about that, but it's also just about stepping up and actually doing the creating. Like if you're working on something for a relationship, you have to show up in that relationship and like do the work and do the intimacy and do all of those things, right? Or same with a job or whatever. um but it's a beautiful energy to come in together here like this, you guys, because it's talking about literally no authority in your life is higher than you at this time. You have everything that you need. This is about wholeness. This reading is about wholeness. Even if you don't feel it right in this moment, these energies are here to support you in that. Is really what I'm getting. And shall I leave you with, I'm going to leave you with a Crow's Tarot intuitive guidance. All right, Wisdom of the Crow. Let's talk about it. The bridge between. You are poised between two states, two choices, two worlds, two realities. I'm getting like past and present, okay? Your presence alone is the connection. Oh, I love that. I love that. Be well.